But let's talk about Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter went through some stuff. Twitter had that like sort of a quiet couple days. You know what it felt like? It felt like New York City after the hurricane.
After Hurricane Sandy.
When the power was out for like 2 days and it was like, dang, it's kind of quiet.
Which is kind of cool. It's kind of like...
You don't usually see it like that.
Post-apocalyptic Twitter, pretty much.
Yeah. There was some graph of, I think it was a Cloudflare thing. It's trying to show that like Twitter traffic did actually tank for a little bit.
Oh, sure.
I don't even know how accurate that would represent everyone's Twitter experience. But if you use Twitter every day, you probably notice there was less stuff happening. It came back. Lots of random things keep happening at Twitter. And then one big thing that happened is they started doing payouts for verified users who are in like a revenue sharing program.
Yeah, it's essentially if you now get a portion of the revenue that is created through the ads that are only posted inside your replies. So I'm sure we've all noticed that replies on Twitter have ads now. Very annoying, but I get it. So those specific ads will now benefit the creator that it gets posted under.
Yeah. I tweeted to my subscribers on Twitter. So if you are a subscriber on my Twitter, you saw this a week or two ago. But I got a screenshot because I just like got a pop-up when I opened Twitter one day. It says, congrats at MKBHD. As your share of ads revenue and replies, you're receiving $6,698. Your portion will be deposited into your Stripe connected account within the next 72 hours. Thanks for being a creator on Twitter. And you just hit OK. And that's it. There's no analytics. There's no, this is in the last 30 days. There's no like, here's the tweet that generated you the most or like any information. This is the only information I've gotten about this. And I can go into my analytics and try to find more. I can go into my Stripe account and try to find more. Almost nothing. But
interesting. But
everyone got this screenshot of like, oh, I'm going to get paid for my tweets, I guess.
Yeah, so let's I had some questions. It sounds like you can't really answer them. So my favorite thing to do on Waveform, let's speculate.
Sure.
There's a bunch of people, and some people are getting paid a lot of money.
I saw some crazy numbers.
I saw multiples over $10,000.
Yeah.
But one interesting thing here is my two main questions are, one, it says that this is retroactive back to February when it was announced.
Interesting.
So if you think about that, then this isn't just like 30 days worth of payments. This is like 6 months worth of payments.
That makes a lot of sense.
Which is a lot, why a lot of these are very big. Do you have a separate payment for subscriptions?
Yes.
It is separate. So that is not included in this.
This is different. And it's also through Stripe, but this amount, this new thing that popped up was separate from subscriptions. Subscriptions has already been happening.
It has a payout in a totally different way.
It's the same way, but this is just an addition.
Not in the lump sum. Okay, cool. So that does actually help that, because I was wondering like, man, some of these numbers I'm seeing are crazy.
Yeah.
Do you want to go?
I saw Mr. Beast posted one. I think he did the same thing. He posted for subscribers. So sorry, Jimmy. But yeah, it was the same thing. It was like $25,000.
I think I saw his. So I don't think it's a subscriber. I think I saw it.
So it's just out there. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's like 6 months worth of. So you're looking at maybe $1,000 a month.
Basically, yeah. So you do the math, 6 months, 6,000. Yeah.
I mean, not much to just share your random tech thoughts every once in a while. And
to deal with the annoyance of ads showing up under tweets all the time, that seems like basically, I think that moment on Twitter where it was like, oh, if I am a part of this program, I am incentivized to post more and use Twitter more because I will be paid more accordingly. And anytime that moment happens on a social media platform, that changes the landscape of it forever. Like every time that's ever happened.
Yeah.
Now, to different extents, like when that happened with TikTok, it was a creator fund and people didn't really make that much money, so it didn't change it that much. But when YouTube got the partner program and started revenue sharing, that inflection point changed YouTube forever.
Yeah.
So Twitter finally getting this moment, and we don't have any details about like what are RPMs, is it a shrinking pile of money? Is it a percentage? Like what is even happening? We don't really know. But the fact that it happened at all was enough for people to sort of come back to Twitter and start talking about it and figuring it out.
Yeah, and there's some cool parts of it. You do have to be subscribed to Twitter Blue, but I actually don't think that's that big of a deal. If it's $8 a month, then you're probably going to make, if you are somebody making obviously over $8 a month,
right,
it pays for itself. That's kind of nice. The one question I saw people have was, it says you need 5 million impressions over the last 3 months. And two things here. One, do you have to keep that streak? Do you always have to have 3 straight months of 5 million in order to do that? And then I also included this tweet on here, which we'll show on the screen and I'll read out loud. But someone named John Krause, I think we've talked to him for the podcast before. He takes photos of like SpaceX and like rocket launches. His impressions are hilarious when you look at them versus having to have a 3-month streak of 5 million, because he goes January 6.7 million, February 5.3 million, March 4 million, then April 74 million, May 9 million, or June 4.9 million, so wouldn't hit it there, and then July 101 million. So if that's what it was, he's well averaging over 5 million,
but he doesn't have the streak of 3,
but potentially doesn't have the streak. I mean, this is a very niche amount of people that this would happen to, but that would be super unfortunate to pull 101 million impression month.
I think it should be, I guess if I was going just by the YouTube model, you just have to get the streak once and then you're in the program.
Yeah.
It would be hard to imagine getting 70 million impressions in a month and just not being in the program like pretty quickly, but you know, it's hard to tell. We don't know.
My other worry, and I saw this, a lot of people saying this, is just, does this potentially incentivize people to steal more content on Twitter and post themselves versus retweeting or linking to original sources? Like, why would you link to a YouTube video that might not get as many clips when you can clip the YouTube video and upload it yourself? It's obviously going to have to go through a bunch of copyright things now, which I think already is apparent on Twitter, just not as enforced as YouTube. And now you're potentially making money. Like, why would you like... Am I wrong on that?
No, I was just like, that's a really soft. There's whole movies on Twitter.
There's like Shrek 1, 2, and 3.
Right, there's like the Super Mario movie was in theaters and on Twitter at the same time. Like,
this is reminding me of like the Kick website. They're just like, yeah, man, come over here, stream whatever you want. Like, we're streaming the Super Bowl. And it's like, you guys know that's not going to work for very long, right? And they're already starting to now like strike all these big people that went over there and are like, I thought we could watch movies. It's like, no, it's not the Wild West. It's the internet still. There's still copyright laws.
That's exactly right. So this is why it feels like Twitter, and I've been telling people at Twitter whenever I have any contact with Twitter, like, please communicate more. Like, people need to know what the rules are. And at this point, we don't know most of these rules. Like on YouTube, for example, we know about the copyright system. We know about how to get into the partner program, what the requirements are. And then once you're in, how it works. You get all the analytics and the revenue sharing information so you can optimize however you want based on known info. On Twitter, none of that is really communicated at all. So
you need people to communicate in order to communicate.
You need a communication team, turns out. But like, this would be super useful information for this whole inflection point to have the most impact. But as of right now, it feels like, there's going to be people who just go, oh, more Twitter activity equals more money. Okay, let's just post constantly and steal a bunch of stuff and post more, because there doesn't seem to be rules that specifically enforce that, where when you do define them, then you get better answers to those questions.
Yeah, and I think like a pretty good example of even past like videos are pretty obvious you're copyrighted, or like audio, it's pretty obvious you're stealing that. But when it's just like a random thought, it's very hard to prove that you were the original of that. And there are people that can just scrape not only Twitter, but a ton of other stuff. We know there's somebody who we know got very popular on Twitter from just scraping Reddit threads about programming, and now is like has a very big following and just basically retweets and reposts things that are already on the internet already, and probably is making quite a bit of money from this.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's any Twitter copyright system the way you see it built so clearly through YouTube. Like that system that was built behind YouTube like took years and negotiation and lawyers and paperwork, and like that is built now in a way that it's part of YouTube. I hate to keep using YouTube, but like, hey, it's the S-tier platform, so they've got it built. It's figured out. So this is something they've got to figure out. Whoever's in that office building just got to figure it out.
I have a feeling they're just going to wing it.
Till they can't anymore, might as well. I'm sure there's also Threads conversations probably about this, because Threads is so new. I don't think there's no revenue share program, but when they do start doing revenue sharing or ads or whatever, they got to figure that out too.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I'm interested to see. I am very interested with what Adam said, is like, when are ads going to start getting onto Threads? I guess to wrap up this conversation, I kind of wanted to see how you think, or like, how is Threads been turned into your just like everyday life right now? Because I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's probably different for everyone. We can probably all answer this. For me personally, it's not on my primary home screen.
Okay.
It's on one of my home screens though.
Okay.
It replaced.
Is Twitter on your primary home screen?
No.
Okay.
It's next to Twitter on my third home screen.
Okay, cool.
So it's,
Okay, fair.
it's made it out the app drawer, which is cool. And yeah, I open it just for like the same level of entertainment as Instagram, interestingly. It's
Okay.
not the same content, but it's the same level of I'm just going to scroll for a while and see some fun stuff and peace
Okay.
out. I was in an airport for 4 hours and just like flipping back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like casual passive entertainment. And once in a while you'll engage a little bit, reply for some threads, talk to people. That's kind of what it is. There's no DMs. So yeah, that's just like surface level what I use it for.
Yeah, I'd say my use case on it right now is like I still have that habit of just mine's in a folder right next to Twitter, but my like habit is to just folder Twitter like boop boop. It's just like such a habit to
it's
just like
basically on
hit
your
it.
home
Yeah,
screen.
yeah. So I'm so much more hitting Twitter, scrolling through Twitter, and then being like, this isn't great. Oh yeah, there's threads, and then going to threads, and then looking at that, and then maybe replying like once. And overall, my usage of social media that's reliant on text posts has just dwindled quite a bit.
Here's a question.
Yeah.
Let's say you have a bucket of all your social media. Let's say it's, 100 units. Have your units overall gone up, or have you split up your units into smaller pieces? Like if you did like 50 units of Twitter and 50 units of Instagram, are you now doing 50 more units of threads, or are you doing less Twitter or less Instagram to make room for threads?
Weirdly, I think I've probably just been using Instagram more overall because it's just like seeing photos and being more following the people that I know in my like personal life has been. I've just realized like, man, as much fun as it is sometimes, it's just like there's so many people bickering and arguing, and like it's just more fun to stay away from that a little
Twitter,
bit.
you mean?
On Twitter, but I mean like it's gonna be at Threads soon. It's probably already starting to come in there. My Twitter has been, and it got cleaned up a little, but so bot ridden. And I know you guys have mentioned that like there's a lot of that on Threads lately. I haven't seen it, but I'm just not on Threads as much. I would say like it goes Instagram, Twitter, and then Threads, but I'm probably engaging more on Threads, but I'm reading Twitter more because I still think that's like a habitual thing that'll be very hard to break.
Yeah. And it's so like news based, and there's so many like
I like
fast
keeping up
developments
to
on
date
Twitter.
with news, and that's because
Yeah.
people I'm following. When Threads does that, and when it becomes more like apparent and people are on there, which will happen,
Yeah.
I'll see myself using Threads more. Maybe I would like a dim mode on Threads.
Not the dark mode.
I like dim mode on Twitter, not full
That's a
black.
specific. Okay.
It is.
Yeah, it's
David agrees
gray.
with me on this. I know David agrees with me on this. I for some reason it's like blue purple almost.
Yeah, like super dark navy or whatever. It's
I like
not
it.
quite black.
It's not quite full black.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for a little trending topics page on Threads.
Yeah, that would
Trending,
be nice too.
trending threads, trending words. Are you guys using Twitter or Threads at all?
I've been using it. It did make my home screen,
Okay.
mainly because it's the new thing. So I'm just like trying it out, seeing what it's about. But I do like it because a couple of months ago, I went through and like really curated who I was following on Instagram. So my Instagram for the past couple months, I've actually been having like a decent experience, which is crazy.
It's good to do that once in a while.
There's actually like interesting people and creators and things that I like that I follow.
Yeah.
So when Threads happened and it all just transferred over, it's been pretty interesting seeing those people
Okay.
now. I have like a different experience than Twitter, which when it first came out and I like was first starting to follow people, it was all tech people. So like Twitter for me for the longest this whole time has just been exclusively tech people. And now all of my other interests are also on Twitter basically because of Threads coming out.
Yeah.
Before you stopped, did you see they mentioned Threads is adopting ActivityPub?
It
It was like today, I think.
They've been saying that they're going to do that, and they've been like doing their due diligence and going through it. But I'm curious to see when it actually happens. I hope they do because
And
it would be
how it
awesome.
happens.
Yeah, it would be really cool, but we'll see.
Okay. Ellis,
I don't have Threads.
nice.
At all?
No.
Don't you have like every
Not-
other one?
Don't you
Yeah,
have like some
that's-
weird
that's why I
fake
was
account
like,
on it?
I have a Twitter. No, you can't make a weird fake account on it because it
'cause
just
it's
yeah, you know what I mean.
Instagram,
So like I had Twitter, and then everyone's like, "Oh, Ellis, you got to get T2," and then it's like, "Oh, Ellis, you got to get Blue Sky," and then everyone's like, "Oh, Ellis, you got to get." I was like, "Enough,
Threads is too late.
I'm done." So
Yeah.
yeah,
Outside looking in.
Cool.
Okay.
So
Are
if you see
tempted?
Ellis on Threads,
that
fake.
is not
it's
me.
fake.
That's good to know.
All right, welcome to the Clips outro. We're going to keep this trivia party going. Marquez, how many penguins are there in the world?
About 30 million penguins.
Andrew, how many birds?
50 billion?
How many whales are there in the world?
Almost 1.5 million.
How many elephants are there in the world?
450K.
Are there more foxes than elephants in the world?
I'm going to go with no.
But not too much, though.
Yeah, there's only 300,000 foxes.
How many Waveform subscribers are there in the world?
Not enough.
Not
Click
enough?
the subscribe button.
There's
I
about
wanna-
to be one more.
This is a Clips outro, which means it's a Clips channel, which means I'm going to go with like 328,000.
Plus one.
I think it's 330.
Because of you.
Where did you come from?
I have no idea.
Remember to like and subscribe.